Okay, let me get this music turned down. Alright, let's switch to the main cam and we will start. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me today. I am Johnny Kazemka with Harvey, Goodman, Realtor, and this is the Ohio Valley Real Estate Reports. Today I have with me in the studio Lisa Snodgrass from Just For You Organizing. And we're going to talk to you today about some organizational tips and tricks, what you can hopefully use and borrow for the upcoming holiday season with Christmas just around the corner. And we were supposed to do this, it was right before Thanksgiving, but unfortunately I fell victim to the flu, and I know your husband was as well, so
Yep.
how's he doing?
He's doing great.
Okay. Well, certainly glad to hear it and glad to have you here today. So I know that we had a little bit of a discussion before we started this, but
Yep.
why don't you enlighten me again and the people that are watching, what can we do to be better prepared for the upcoming holidays?
Well, the holidays can be stressful for a lot of people. There's a lot of things to do, and my job as an organizer is to help you take the stress out of it and be more productive with your time and to get things done, and you can enjoy the holidays as well. There's a lot of things I can tips there are. Usually the earlier you start, the better off you are, but the main thing is, I think, is to sit down with a calendar before Thanksgiving, and even if it's after Thanksgiving, sit down with the calendar now and plot out your strategies and your steps, your deadlines of when your Christmas cards need to be mailed, if you have to mail packages, find out what those deadlines are, put them on your calendar so you have a reference and a point to go to.
Sure.
To say, yes, oh yes, I got to do that today or tomorrow, and the more you can plan and put on your calendar, the better off you are to see and have a little bit more control of what's happening. Whether that's shopping, whether that's baking, whether that's the food shopping, whatever you got to do for the holidays to get things ready. Even cleaning the house and doing the laundry. If you have to get that minutia with it, feel free to do so. Whatever helps you get through the season.
No,
yeah.
and I can totally relate because especially people in my line of work, right? I'm a creature of habit. I wake up and I have this specific routine, and it becomes a necessity because I live and pretty much die by my calendar. If it's not on there, it's not uncommon, and I hate to say it, but agents, if it's not in front of them, if you make an appointment and forget to put it on the calendar, sometimes they forget to show up, and that's terrible. But we're all human. We have to, sort of, do what we, I guess, works best for each.
Yes.
And like I said, organization for me is critical because without it, then I'm running around like crazy.
Yes, especially with a job that you are not tied to a 9 to 5. That jobs that change on a daily basis because of other people, other clients, and that could be said and taken to a mom with kids because we know that every day is not predicted. Completely different. What's going to happen? So if you have yourself a list and your things in front of you that sometime this week or the next 2 days I can get it done. So don't beat yourself up if that day it didn't happen.
Sure.
You can take care of it the next day because something came up, but at least you have a grasp on what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to describe my schedule, and you hit the nail on the head, is I can only work effectively when other people are off of work.
Yes.
So my schedule seemingly is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because all these different people have all these different schedules.
Yep.
Weekends especially, because people will ask me Friday, hey, can we go see this house tomorrow? And unfortunately, I've already made my appointments for Saturday on Monday, because those are the days that most people are off of work. So how do you structure that? How do I get organized with all these other clients and to make that all blend together? It can be a challenge at times.
It is. It can be. It can be.
And in my line of work too, one of the single largest, I guess, contributing factors to almost what a house can actually even sell for is the appeal of what a buyer sees inside of the property itself. So the initial showing, really, it's you can't unring a bell, right?
Right.
And when buyers go into a house that may be cluttered, maybe needs a little bit of cleaning up, not like it's filthy or anything, but there is something to be said about buyers not being able to see themselves living in a particular space.
There is that, and I have helped several clients, and I do help people to structure their moves and organize their packing, unpacking, and every step of the way to get in. to get there, to take a little bit of stress out of the ordeal, because moving and selling and buying, it's all a very overwhelming project. But you're right, you can't unring a bell. So when people, it's almost like a lot of people don't want to stage their home because staging is a little maybe too rigid. But I have to say, when you're selling your house, that buyers coming in, they want to see themselves in that house.
Sure.
So it may not be cluttered to you, but the pictures of the kids or the grandkids on the refrigerator, family photos, things that are really personal that are around the house, really take away from that buyer envisioning themselves in that home. So when you say, there are a lot of people that do have clutter that because their daily lives such, but there has to be a game plan for that. Put it in a tote, put it in a basket, it goes somewhere that looks nice, that isn't spread out all over the house. And then when they go away, you can put your things back up, however you want to do it. But yes, to stage the home to the buyer looking to feel themselves in the house is critical.
I mean, and it's surprising of how much of an actual impact that has on value. Because if the buyer truly likes the home, but they're not willing to make an offer because it looked cluttered, probably not necessarily the buyer or the seller really wants to work with in the first place. I mean,
Right.
if they're going to be really that critical over the something that small, if they're not looking at the major things, just a roof leak, how old was the furnace, structural issues, fire issues. If they're more concerned about that kind of stuff, maybe they're being too nitpicky.
Well, that could be. On the other hand, if there's a lot of clutter, it leads you to believe how much closet and storage space you have in the home you're buying. So yes,
hit the nail on the head, because then it becomes this kind of negative, adverse connotation with the home.
Yes.
That if they're going to make an offer, the offer may have been higher otherwise if they didn't have that to pick about. So yeah, I mean, there is, and I've always said that one of the easiest things you can do to enhance your showing potential to a possible buyer, and therefore its overall value, is decluttering.
Right.
And it's hard to keep, especially if you have family. If you went to my house right now, my living room looks like Toys R Us just blew up in there.
I have two small nephews, so I understand.
So this morning, drinking coffee, getting
Right.
a little guy ready to go to the babysitters, and I didn't pick up any of the toys before I left.
Right.
But I know when I get home, still going to be there. I got
Right.
stuff to do. But if I was selling my house and I had that, it's hard to manage that kind of. So what can you suggest for me if that was my situation? What could I do to kind of work around that?
Well, it's always about planning ahead. But the thing about decluttering, especially when you're selling your home, you're going to move. So the best thing you could do is start room by room, or child by child, or person by person in the house, and go through the rooms and get rid of it. Get rid of it now,
Sure.
before you move. Because if you're not decluttering to show your house, it looks messy. If you're not decluttering before you move, you're going to have to pack all that stuff.
Sure.
You have to have space, boxes, space in the truck, and people moving it, which takes time, space, and money. And the less stuff there is to pack, the less time it takes, the less space in the truck, you end up with less money spent on the actual move. And then when you go to unpack, it's not so overwhelming because you don't have stuff. Oh, well, I will get rid of it in the next place. Why are you wasting the space on that?
Sure.
Declutter now. That way, there's only smaller stuff to pick up. There's not so much to pick up each time, and you're taking your child to babysitter. Oh, he only has the 4 toys instead of the 7. It makes it quicker to pick up.
And of course, if someone doesn't have that kind of time frame, you're always available.
Yes, I am. I am, just for you organizing. I'm right there. I'm right there to help.
Yeah. So if anybody that is currently watching this, if you are selling or if you're buying, obviously you're going to be moving from point A to point B. And
Yes.
if you need some help with that organization for that move,
Yep.
let me throw your card up here on the screen real quick so people can get your contact information.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I remember you talking before at one of our BNI meetings about some of the, I guess, and I thought this was fascinating. In fact, I remembered it. The psychology that goes into living in clutter and living outside of it.
Yes.
And the effect that has on just us as people. So
Yes.
for example, if I were to go home today, right now, and I'm just sitting there cooking dinner, I don't even know that I could start dinner before I start tackling something else that, and then I start cleaning this and notice that this needs cleaned. And I bounce around. Like I can never really focus on one particular task because every time I start that task, I jump to the other.
Right.
And I've always suffered with that.
Right.
So, and maybe that's, I don't know, don't call it OCD, but, I think that happens for a lot of people.
It does. And then dinner's late.
Yeah, it is, because
Right?
I'll start cleaning something in the process, I'll realize, and I ping pong. So what can I do better to, I guess, I've always heard that focused, if you focus your attention on one task and complete it, then move to the next and then the other, it's much easier. But I have that terrible habit of not being able to, I leave something half finished and have to come back to it.
Some of my clients that have attention issues, I like to use a timer, whether it's on their stove, on their cell phones, whatever kind of timer they have. Mm-hmm. And I give them a job or homework when I leave, and I tell them, put it on for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. You have 30 minutes to deal with whatever this issue is in the office or in the living room, this clutter, this closet. Take 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. When the timer goes off, stop. Mm-hmm. And go to something else. Or treat yourself for lunch or do something.
Sure.
Take yourself away from it. If you have to come back to it, but take the break. Mm-hmm. And then come back to it, put it on another timer. That way you're not saying, I'm going to do it till it's done, because that becomes overwhelming for people. Mm-hmm. It also chops up your day where you can, what we call time blocking. So mm-hmm. you're focused on this one action at mm-hmm. this time only. Your mind is focused and it's not spread. You're not meandering into other areas of, well, I can do that now while I'm here.
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
Finish the task at hand, so it's finished. But the more you do that, and once you get yourself into an organized system and a way of reorganizing the way your household is living,
sure.
Then it's only 5 minutes to pick things up instead of 20.
Sure.
And then dinner's not late. Everything has a place to live, everything has a place to go, and or if it goes in a tote mm-hmm. to deal with it later, it's picked up, it's out of the way.
And I think a lot of people, and I know I suffer from this every day, mental fatigue, meaning yes. that it's so hard for me to, put it this way, in my car, just last year alone, I think nearly 40,000 miles in 1 year, and on my onboard computer, something around the average speed of 45 miles an hour. And if you do the math backwards from that distance driven at that speed, it equates to like over 800 hours, or the equivalent of 30 straight days inside my car I spent there last year. Right, so I'm living in that thing.
Right.
It's crazy how much that we, agents do, that we spend there. And that's just driving. That's not dealing with clients. That's not doing. It's a daily, ritual. Right. By the time I get home, I just want to relax.
Right.
So it is hard for me to get into those rhythms like you're talking about. And it's critically important. I know, as we're talking now, I can do better. I know that I right. can, how important that is. It's just, so how do I shut off that mental fatigue? How do I force myself beyond that barrier to...
Well, forcing yourself beyond the barrier, like when I work with clients, I only work with them for like 2 to 4 hours, because mm-hmm. your mind will not make good decisions after so many
sure.
and especially when you're dealing with your own items. Mm-hmm. So I would say you make an appointment with yourself, whether it's mm-hmm. every Wednesday, every Saturday, whatever it is, and you pick that project. You make a list of your projects that you want to declutter or get help with or make it better. Make a list and then make an appointment with yourself on your calendar. If
sure.
you make an appointment 1 hour every Wednesday, I'm going to spend on this.
Absolutely.
And that starts to, and then what happens is that starts to be, the behavior starts to become part of the day for you. You're not done yet till that appointment's done with yourself.
Absolutely. I think someone, one of my admins, watched the stream. It said Johnny Kazemka liked the stream. Obviously, I'm right here. But Mary Gowdy says, hi, Johnny. Hi, Lisa. So hi, Mary. Thank you for watching.
Hi, Mary.
Picking up where we left off, kind of forcing yourself and making that appointment with yourself, very, very good lessons. And you had spoken before about sort of like virtual assistants, so apps on your phone that you can use. I know that I rely almost religiously on Google. So Google Keep, Gmail.
Oh yeah,
Calendar.
there's a lot.
Yeah. But what, in your opinion, what are the best ones? And
oh, there's so many. There's everything from To Do to OneNote to there's a lot. Evernote. I think Evernote started charging people though. But it all depends on, it's like your organizational for your closet. Everybody organizes differently. Everybody sees things differently. So different apps will either antagonize you because of the way it looks or the way it operates, or you'll fall in love with it. And I think it depends on how you're using it and what you're used to doing. And then you have the PC versus Mac. There's a framework there. So there's a ton of apps, and I say, I know it takes a little bit of time. Try it out first. It's like I come back with clients that we set up a system, it didn't work for them. They tried it for 2 weeks, it's not working. Well, let's figure out why. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with the items. It's more about what's happening here. What's happening here, what's happening in the life of somebody, whether they're going through a change, a transition, a grief, whatever it is, makes an impact on how people will organize their surroundings. And that depends on, I had a client that had a lot of stuff from their husband and their mother that died. So there was a lot of what I want to quote dead people in the basement. That weighs down on the house, it weighs down on your life. You're not using these things anymore. And you're past that time of grief where you can let it go and let other people enjoy those things. I think people have a more ability to let things go if they know it's going to a useful place for other people to use. And I have a plethora of places to donate to for certain items, and it's great. But it's not what a book tells you, not what Martha Stewart is showing you. It's what you in your life needs at that time, is when you're organized or when you're not. I have people who are pilers. They have piles on their desk. They know where everything is. They're organized. It may not look organized, but it's organized to them, and they're more productive. Yes, exactly. Everybody does it differently.
Well, Scott says hello as well, and he says thank you for the solid advice. So, Scott, thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
As for me, one of the I guess the biggest apps that I use, and I remember making posts on Facebook, and to this day, if it ever happens again, I still get tagged on it. I don't know how I became that particular guy, but the ramp leading to, what would it be, 470 eastbound, the big circle ramp that comes around. When that was closed, that ramp got me just driving on a daily basis. Because like I said, I spend about a month in my car on average a year, and I'm always driving up and down the highways. And I would have to go all the way up to the hill, turn around, come back down. and I made a post about it one day. And then when it was like open for a day and then closed again, like my Facebook blew up and was tagged and saying, hey John, don't forget to, So what I did, I used Google Keep, and I made a geocode or a geofence, and I would say, okay, at Martins Ferry Kroger's, whenever I'm in this immediate bubble, this immediate vicinity, my phone would text me and say, John, don't go to 470.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I had to remind myself.
That's great.
So just some of the features that I use on a daily basis, or that I've noticed. But again, you hit the nail on the head. There's a little bit of a learning curve with that, not so much. But
when you said geofencing, half my clients went, what?
But like I said, that's what you're here for. So if any client is interested in that kind of stuff, we'll send them your way. And,
right, exactly.
Well, I guess as far as any other organizing tips, Christmas stuff coming around the corner, and
just relax and enjoy the holidays with your family and with your friends. It's about people, not about everything being perfect, and also be safe. There are things happening that people in this area especially aren't used to. When you're taking so many bags to the car, have your keys out. Have your keys out, ready to go. Don't give somebody the opportunity to say, hey, there's somebody I can maybe take a few free things for myself from you. just be aware of your surroundings, where you're parking, where you're at, where are your things, and how you're handling yourself. So it's a safety thing amongst outside of your credit card and all that kind of stuff. Just your personal safety, especially this year. And please be kind to everybody. Everybody's got to do what you're doing. So I would say just take a deep breath, breathe twice in the car before you get out, and be patient with everybody.
Sure. I actually, for the first time ever, and I didn't even mean to, I had to go get heartburn medicine on Thanksgiving for some family members. And I walked in the Walmart, and it was 5:55, and I've never been to Walmart on Black Friday. It starts at 6 o'clock. I have never seen such madness, such chaos ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, I've seen it on the news and stuff, but to be there firsthand, and all I wanted was to go over and just get, some heartburn medication. And I decided to just hang out and was, just watch it all unfold, because it was something else. It was a spectacle.
Yes.
Miss Mary says, I love the geofence reminder in the Remind app. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the Remind apps are great.
Yes.
Well,
with that being said, is there anything else that you'd like to tell our audience?
Life throws things at us that we don't expect, and I'm here to help you through any of it. An organizer, I'm not going to come in your house and tell you to throw it all away.
Sure.
I'm there to help you make it work, and that's the thing about organizing. I think people misunderstand that I'm going to go in and say you got to get rid of all your stuff, and that's not necessarily what I'm about. I'm about helping you feel better in your home and in your life, whether it's time, items, or whatever it is, helping you get ready for the holidays even. So yeah.
Sure. Well, just see your business card back up there for people to have your contact information. Also, your Facebook link should be in the post. If not, I'll edit. If that's pretty much it, maybe we'll just end here, and we would love to have you back again if in the future. But anyways, everybody, thank you for watching, and enjoy the holidays. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.